Hello. And welcome back to the OCP, the Original Copycats podcast. How are we all? Good? Fantastic. I hope everyone's enjoyed yesterday's episode. I quite enjoyed it, actually. I've had some good feedback. Interestingly enough, I'm just gonna say this. I've had a lot of people coming up to me recently and saying that I should start narrating audiobooks because I have a very good storytelling voice or something. I always thought it was quite annoying, but there we go. I'm fucking sexy or something. I mean, I clearly make a lot of mistakes, as you probably well know. If you've listened to the OCP for any amount of time, you'll realise that reading is not my strongest suit. And if the bloopers are anything to go by, then yeah. Well, I don't know. I might look into it. Might be interesting. Something I've never really thought about doing, but it could be fun. Who knows? But in other news, I recorded a longer episode today with Josh. So, hi Josh, you're not listening because you're a twat. It was 2022, a year in review. And I'm looking forward to posting that because it was actually really fun, sort of looking back on the past year and sort of reminiscing a little bit. It didn't really get too soppy, to be fair, so you might be able to listen to it without going, oh, this is cringe. But yeah, it was quite confusing actually to try and remember that we had to pretend that it was 2023 at this point because we're posting it on the 1st of January. So we kept going, oh yeah, this year, and it's obviously it wasn't this year. Yeah, I'm rambling now. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get into oh god, what was that? Episode 7 of the Yule Lads. Your parents had gone out for the day and were spending the night in a hotel. You had the house to yourself and everything was eerily quiet. The only noise you could hear was the faint tapping of a tree branch on the window outside. You get up from your bed and wander aimlessly throughout the house. You'd never really been left alone before, especially not overnight. You'd be lying if you said there wasn't an ounce of trepidation when it came to the thought of what strange creature would appear in your house tonight. But, to be fair, you had handled everything quite well so far. After a few hours of sitting in the various chairs around the house to determine which was the comfiest, you didn't get out much, you decided to go back upstairs to chill in your bedroom. You ascend the stairs and reach the top, but as you do so, you hear an almighty bang from behind you. You whip around immediately and stare down the hallway. Was that your parents? Had they come home early? You couldn't see them, but it was pitch black now, considering it was nearly midnight. You stare intently in the direction of the loud noise, but you couldn't hear anything. You decide to head downstairs. At this point, it's better to face things head on so they don't sneak up on you, you reason. As you make your way down the stairs with its slightly frayed carpet, you forget about the second step from the bottom. It creaks loudly, making you jump out of your skin. You laugh nervously and step off the stairs. Right. What's this noise then? Where are you? You ask into the blackness around you. What happened next made the hairs on your neck stand on end. You hear a small, mischievous cackle. Then, slam! The door to the kitchen slams shut behind you. You wheel around, fumbling for the light switch on the wall. After a moment of clumsily slapping the wall and finding nothing, you whip out your phone and turn on the flashlight. The dim, whitish-blue light fills the corridor and shines onto the closed kitchen door. It was like a scene straight out of a horror movie. Any minute now, you expected the door handle to start violently rattling. Despite this, though, you edge forward towards the closed door, your arm outstretched ready to clasp the handle. You grab it and slowly open the door. As you pull the door towards you, you shine the torch into the empty kitchen. You scan the floor, the worktops, under the table, and even inside the fridge, but there was nothing. Where was it? You knew for a fact it was one of those Yule lads that your mother had mentioned. But which one was it this time? If you were to hazard a guess, you'd say, I don't know, annoying bastard, but then that could have been any of them. So you settle for Derek instead. Bang! The kitchen door slams shut once more, leaving you enclosed in the kitchen. You'd had enough of this. You walk straight over to the door. Leave it out, Derek, will you? You say as you open the door, which then proceeds to shut on you once more. You open it again, but this time with some force, and stand in the doorway looking around for any sign of the Yule lad. But there was nothing. Were you sure this was a Yule lad? Maybe it was a ghost. A Christmas ghost. Did ghosts come along with the Yule lads? Your mother mentioned a cat. Was it really that much of a stretch to imagine they had a pet poltergeist? The door remained in the same position for a moment, and you figured that it was over. That was until you saw the familiar pointy red hat peeping out from behind the living room doorway. "Hey!" you say as you rush towards it. It whips behind the door frame and out of sight. As you reach the door, you step one foot inside the living room, where you are met with the Yule lad. An evil grin on his face as he slams the door directly in yours. You feel it connect with your forehead as you stumble backwards, losing your balance. Then, there was nothing. You awake hours later to find the light shining through the curtains to your left, its warmth touching your cheek. You squint as you sit up. What happened? You ask yourself as you realize the back of your head hurts. You must have fallen into the radiator and knocked yourself out. You look at the living room door in front of you, which is still closed. Upon further inspection of your surroundings, you realize all the doors were closed, even the upstairs ones. Who was this guy? Well, this is Door Slammer, not Derek. And I'd love for you to guess what this one does. Whilst I was doing some prep for this series, I listened to an episode of this podcast called the Kryptonaut podcast, and they covered the Yule lads and Greela and all of that sort of stuff, like the Yule cat. And they said that Door Slammer seemed to be the only one that could have just been like some paranormal activity that was going on instead of a Yule lad, because it just didn't seem to fit with the rest of them, which I kind of agree, you know, because it's like there wasn't really much of a description of him. So I've just gone with the pointy red hat thing again, because it's my podcast, mate. I do what I want. But yeah, so go and listen to their episode on it, because it's actually really good. Anyway, that's enough for me. Join me again tomorrow when we find out what the 8th Yule lad is. I hope you've had a great weekend, and I will be with you again shortly. Bye! You get up from your bed and wander aimlessly throughout the house. Had a bit of spit in my mouth there. You'd be lying if you said there was an... Oh, God. At this point, it's better to face these things head on. So, no. At this point, it's better to face these things head on so that they can't sneak. Oh, God. You laugh nervously and step off. The door to the kitchen slams shut behind you. You wheel around, fumbling for the light switch on the wall. After a moment of Clumsily. What? Fuck's sake. The door to the kitchen slams shut behind you. You wheel around, fumbling for the light switch on the wall. After a moment of... Why did I say wall weirdly again? Wall. You'd had enough of... Oh, what was that? You've meant... That was until you saw the familiar pointy red hat peeping out of... That was until you saw the familiar... That was until you saw the familiar pointy red hat peeping out from behind the living doom.